Have you done multiple rounds of protocols, cleanses, and rounds of antibiotics to get rid of infections like H. pylori, candida, SIBO, parasites, C. diff, or Lyme, yet you still have all your symptoms or most of your symptoms from being sick? Are you looking at doing another round of testing or protocols to try and get rid of the same pathogens you've worked on in the past? Or are you suspicious you might have certain pathogens or infections like parasites, Lyme, mold, H. pylori, but no testing has shown that you have them, or you can't find a doctor who's willing to listen to you to do the testing? If you said yes to any of these questions, this episode is for you. On today's episode, I'm breaking down the second layer of the 5 toxin trap that's keeping you constipated, and it is hidden pathogens. Today, I will be talking about the signs and symptoms that you have hidden pathogens in your body driving your symptoms, 3 of the most common mistakes that are keeping you stuck with those pathogens, even when you've tried to kill them, and what to do instead to finally get rid of the pathogens that may or may not be dwelling inside you. Hidden infections are a very, very common driver to chronic constipation that I've seen over the last 8 years of working with clients. I had infections, multiple of them, and hundreds of my clients have had multiple infections all at the same time. But you don't have to be stuck with these infections. Let's dive into how you can finally be free from candida, H. pylori, parasites, mold, and more. So today's episode is a continuation on our series on the 5 toxin trap, which is 5 categories of issues that I'm seeing people getting trapped in that is keeping them from becoming unconstipated. And let's be real, you're not just constipated with these other things, with the things that are causing you to be constipated in the 5 toxin trap. You're not just constipated. You also are going to have other symptoms. It might be acid reflux. It might be PMS. It might be no period. It might be weight gain. I've had clients of all sorts of issues, skin issues, etc., that come in and they're constipated and they also want to deal with everything else. And the 5 toxin trap is what they're stuck in. And when we help them get out of the 5 toxin trap, they no longer are constipated. They poop daily without needing any additional support. Their skin clears up. Autoimmune conditions have gone into remission. The amount of medication they need for issues like thyroidism, hypothyroidism halves or reduces completely. And they just have energy that lasts throughout the day. They sleep great. They love their life. And so this is all something that I'm covering in a series, going one by one through every layer of the 5 toxin trap and the 3 most common reasons people get stuck in these traps. Because honestly, I can't think of the last time someone felt genuinely surprised learning about one of these layers of the 5 toxin trap. However, if that is you today and you have not really thought much about hidden pathogens, or you've thought a lot about pathogens potentially in your body, and that is infections, then today is your day, because I'm going to bring you up to speed on how to actually get rid of them and the fact that they are probably driving some of the issues you have going on. If you did not hear our first episode on this called the push release method, the number 1 natural constipation remedy, go back to 2 episodes from this episode, and it's going to give you a quick briefing on where I pulled the 5 toxin trap from, how it relates to the push release method, and how it helps really permanently reverse constipation for pretty much anybody who's come into contact with us. It literally doesn't matter what your diagnosis is, doesn't matter any medical history you've had. It has helped people poop. Your body wants to poop, and we can help it. So what I'm doing with all these episodes is I want to just read a list to start off so you can get a sense of if you might be stuck in this trap. It's not a test itself. You always want to test to confirm, like have a real literal test to confirm. And there's different types of tests, which we're not jumping into in all these episodes because that would make them like two times as long. But there's a variety of tests that can tell us information on what ways and how much you are stuck in certain traps. But one of my favorite tests is free and immediate, and it's your symptoms and sometimes health history. So let me read a list of symptoms to you guys, signs and symptoms, and listen for how many of these you say yes to or how many of these you resonate with. And that's going to give you a very good initial sense if you are stuck in this trap of hidden pathogens. So some of the symptoms you might be dealing with, you have acid reflux that won't go away, meaning like you're on PPIs, you're having multiple PPIs, it's just you're stuck in this thing and won't go away. You have anxiety that counseling or even medication doesn't help with. You're bloating, like if you're having bloating, that if it's worse at night, big sign of a hidden pathogen in your body. If your bloating is best in the morning, then gets worse throughout the day, or it's you get bloated with just drinking water, very, very red flag of a pathogen inside you that doesn't happen for no reason. It's not usually a digestion issue, which is what we covered last week. It's usually a pathogen issue for those specific ones. You have ADHD symptoms that have gotten worse over time. It might not be age. Like, I feel like there's this thing out there about things get worse with age. I do know with women, as you kind of cross into perimenopause and menopause, that definitely neurological symptoms can increase. So yes, if you're in like menopause region, it might be more related to that. But if you're not, like I was in my 20s, should have been having a normal period. ADHD symptoms that are just steadily getting worse can actually be a sign of hidden pathogens in your body. Kind of crazy. They can literally change things like neurotransmitter conversion, protein absorption, which then changes how much amino acids you have available to make neurotransmitters. So they're really big suckers for focus, mood, etc. being altered. Another big symptom is sometimes you feel okay eating certain foods. It's like yesterday I had that soup and it was fine, and today I feel worse. Sometimes that can be a sign of histamine sensitivity. It kind of depends on what you were eating and how old it is. But if you literally create fresh versions of the same thing, 2 separate days, and one day you feel good eating it and one day you don't feel good eating it, it's very common that there's a pathogen involvement, because pathogens have different amounts of activity, different times of day, different days of the month. Parasites are more active close to full moon, less active, not like entirely not active, but just less active the rest of the month. So there are reasons that you might feel worse eating the same foods, and it could be because of pathogens inside your body, not that your body's okay with it one day and not okay with it another day. The number of foods you're sensitive to is increasing. Big sign of several pathogens can do that, but one in particular, recurring UTIs, which is one time a year or more. So when I say like frequent recurring UTIs, if you get a UTI one time a year or more, that's frequent, and big sign of infections in your body. That's not in the UTI, like not your urinary tract. And so other fascinating thing, recurring sinus infections, and I say frequent recurring sinus infections. If you get a sinus infection one time a year or more, even if you're like, well, it's only around allergy season, it's when spring hits, you shouldn't be getting it one time a year or more. There's other stuff going on in your body, often infections, hidden infections that no one's found is a part of it. Acne issues, eczema, unexplained rashes, autoimmune conditions. Autoimmune conditions, as a reminder, guys, they only flare when there's a source of like a trigger for inflammation in the body. If there's no trigger, your body's not going to attack itself. So an autoimmune condition, the only difference is like if you have it or don't have it. You could have 2 people who have sources of inflammation in their body. They're both being exposed to H. pylori in a super high amount. But if one person has the genes for autoimmunity for a specific area of their body, it means that their immune response is going to attack that tissue. It might be your thyroid gland. It might be a certain part of your skin somewhere. It could be, there's all sorts of things. It could be your ovaries. So that's why we have different types of autoimmune conditions. It's simply, where does your body get a little haywire and like to attack itself if there's sources of inflammation? You can't stop that other than with powerful immune suppressing drugs. But the better thing to do is just find the source of inflammation, and pathogens can be one of them. And then when that pathogen's present, even if you're changing your diet and eating cleaner and buying more like low tox products in your house, if that pathogen's none of those, going gluten-free doesn't kill H. pylori or candida or any of it, right? It doesn't do anything. So even if you're doing everything cleaner to try and reduce sources of inflammation externally, if you have an internal pathogen, you're going to still keep seeing that autoimmune condition keep going up and up. Alternating between constipation and diarrhea, there's a specific pathogen I find is the most common when that happens called C. diff. Clostridia difficile. And I have a whole podcast episode on C. diff. It's episode 237. And so if you want to do a deep dive into that and you're like, I do alternate between constipation and diarrhea, that could be one of the reasons why. There's a couple other reasons, but it's a big one. Constipation, just being constipated, huge sign of pathogens. I had parasites. So constipation was my main symptom. That's why I'm passionate about it. And no one could help me. I don't care how smart they were, how many degrees they had. Nobody could help me. And I, after helping myself, started practicing what I did for myself to see if it helped others. And weirdly, it did. And so constipation, just in general, what I've seen is people have one or more hidden pathogens. It's just a given. Gas, get a lot of gas, big sign of hidden pathogens. If you change your diet 1,000 times, but it's never enough to make you feel fully better, big sign of pathogens. If you can't tell what foods you need to eat to feel good, like it's just super confusing. Like if you change your diet, do an elimination diet, you just never quite feel good, big sign of a pathogen, one or multiple in your body that no one's found or no one knows how to deal with yet. And then you feel good eating a food one day, but the next day feel bad eating the same food. And I feel like I said that earlier. Maybe it's on my list twice. Sorry about that if that was repetitive. So that's like a list when I've had clients come into my clinic or talk with me, or I'm reading people's intake forms. Those are the symptoms I see a lot. And that when we do then actually do the testing, which for pathogens, we're relying primarily on a stool test called the GI map. Make sure whatever stool test you do has H. pylori in it and make sure that they test good for H. pylori, meaning I don't really like any other H. pylori test other than maybe the Gut Zoomer by Vibrant Wellness. But even then, I'm still like deciding how much I like it. I definitely have felt we have seen really good results with GI map being sensitive enough to find H. pylori. And then we also do a urine-based test called the organic acids test, and that looks for like the other half of pathogens. It's a more sensitive candida test. It looks for C. diff. It looks for mold. It's a really great test. And so we're using one or both of those depending on people's combination of symptoms, which inside our process, the Better Billy Blueprint, we give you tools to know, like just like a big survey that tells you what labs you need to order based on your symptoms, which saves a ton of time. So you get enough labs to find everything, but not so many labs that you are like wasting money. You know which ones to buy. So you get results. But these are the two, the GI map and the OAT, that you might order to see what pathogens you have inside yourself. And it's only one of the five different like barriers that are going to keep you from pooping. So do deal with them, but also don't only look at this one barrier. So those are your signs and symptoms. What are the 3 most common traps? This is super powerful. If you listen to nothing else today, listen to this, because when I've been interviewing clients and they've said, I've tried everything to get better and I'm not, and I'm wondering, what have they tried? What has not worked? And I've been trying to catalog over time, like what are some of the repetitive things that people, and it can be, stuff they're hearing from doctors, stuff they find online, or stuff they have like an alternative practitioner, like a chiropractor, nutritionist, a functional medicine practitioner, holistic something or another. Like between all these 3 categories of places people are getting information, what are the 3 mistakes just being repeated over and over again that are keeping people stuck in this, that even when they're trying to get out of it actively with thousands of dollars or months of time poured into killing some pathogen, why is it not working? So these are the top three that I see. Number 1, just not finding every pathogen, or basically assuming there's only one. So there can be I see this online. I also see it with practitioners, that a practitioner, I don't care if they're from a convention, like a hospital or some type of fancy alternative functional clinic, there's just a common thing that happens out there that they get excited that they found one pathogen and they get really fixated and they say, well, if we kill this, you'll feel better. But they have missed through symptoms and history and health history, missed other red flags that you probably have more than one pathogen. They're usually I usually see that overlap of symptom. And so being like a symptom sleuther, I've never used that term before. It's kind of weird. Sleuthing someone's symptoms is a skill. And it's a skill I've poured into spreadsheets so that people can do it themselves now inside our program. and basically have my brain inside a spreadsheet to find what pathogens to be testing for. But when you assume there's only one, like I just have candida, I just have parasites, and this can happen too through like reading blogs. And this was something I ran into when I was trying to figure out why I was so sick. I can remember scouring candida blogs, guys, to be like, I think I have this. I need to figure this out. How do I kill it? And I had candida, but I also had H. pylori, and I also had a parasite, Blastocystis hominis, and I also had mold exposure. So they come together, especially because over time, unless you find them really, really soon within a short amount of time, like weeks of getting the infection, your body starts to weaken and you're going to accumulate other infections more easily. Next big mistake is not addressing pathogens in order. And so there is an order to do pathogens. There's also not just the pathogen protocols to do it in the right order, but other protocols like digestion protocols. When do you fix your stomach acid? I like, for a lot of biological reasons, you're going to want to do stomach acid protocol, like literally rebuilding your body's ability to make stomach acid, which is it's not taking stomach acid like supplement, like rebuilding your ability to do it after H. pylori, because H. pylori would get stronger as you build it, and before candida, because stomach acid helps aid in killing candida. So there's layers of all this happening for every single structure, and some layers aren't relevant to some people. If you don't have candida overgrowth, move on. If you don't have H. pylori if you don't have H. pylori, you don't have to worry about that step, but there is an order. And when you don't do them in the right order, doing Lyme first is a good way to not kill Lyme. And I have a whole podcast episode on these. And if you really want to dive deep into it, I'm trying to not dive deep because I want to respect y'all's time. And not everyone's going to care about every pathogen I could possibly talk about. So I actually have a whole hidden pathogen series I did last year. And I put them in the show notes for today. It's episode 233 through episode 239. And every episode covers one specific pathogen. And I go into errors in testing methods where you really have it, but the test didn't find it. So like what test to look for, or how to know if the test you already did might have not found it. Errors in treatment methods of what types of treatments are signs. What can you look for in a treatment you've been given that is a sign that, that probably didn't kill it anyways. And then what would you want to look for in a protocol that gives you confidence? Yeah, this should work. So I try to give all those super, super, super detailed things in individual episodes, and do look into those. If there's one or two or multiple pathogens on your heart, on your mind, you just want to learn about, go listen to those episodes. But in our program, the Better Belly Blueprint, after you test to know what pathogens you have, and we test for multiple pathogens, so we avoid that first big error of like only looking for one pathogen. Once we test for all of them that are relevant to you, then we address them, and we just tell you what order is relevant to you. We call it the customized health plan. It's literally like a checkbox that you just like check boxes, so you know what you're doing, what you're not doing, and you just do them in an order, and then you get results. But the last big error, and I think that I remember when I made these 3 big mistakes, it was like late 2024, which now feels like a long, long time ago. But I feel like this is potentially, this third one is maybe a little bit less true than the past, but it's still up there, which is not addressing or considering mold exposure for someone's issues. Mold is extremely immunosuppressant. And so if you are being exposed to mold or have been in the past, and it's a part of maybe it's not in your current living space, but it's in your body now. And so it's in your sinuses, it's in your gut, it's continuing to proliferate inside your body without needing external exposure. It suppresses your immune system, and then it enables all these other pathogens to hang around. And that's one of the reasons why people get recurring SIBO, recurring candida. They can't kill H. pylori. Their body is too weak from mold. And so mold enables everybody else, like to the umpteenth degree. Mold enables Lyme to not be addressed, etc. So one of the things then probably within the mold conversation is there's a lot of ways to do mold wrong, like bad testing for the body, bad testing for the house. I have done a whole series on mold, and we're probably going to do another one. We are doing another one this year. So I actually hadn't grabbed the link to the first series. I will grab it and put it in the episode, and it's just going to be the first episode to it. I think it's like 100 symptoms of mold toxicity, but then if you click that one, you'll be able to go and look at all the episodes near it, and like our 3-step mold treatment plan. It's like literally exactly how we tell our clients how to heal from mold. And you'll get, those episodes will go more in depth on how people end up thinking they aren't really sick from mold because of a bad quality mold inspector, bad quality mold test that was done on their body, bad analysis of the test. But those 3 things end up keeping people stuck because they're like, I'm not sick with mold, but they certainly are. And so now their body's so immune suppressed, they can't get rid of their other pathogens. The protocols aren't working. That's like one scenario. So the Better Belly Blueprint helps you avoid all these scenarios where just things fall apart and end up not working, because it gives you the correct answer to all of them. Instead of not finding every pathogen and assuming you only have one, we help you test for the right ones. Not everything. Some people only need the GI map. Some people need the GI map and the OAT, but you test the right ones. Not addressing pathogens in the right order, you're going to test them in the right order. Not addressing mold exposure, you're going to get the best mechanisms and to not only test for mold exposure in your body or in your home, but also how to analyze the test so you don't miss hidden signs of mold exposure that happen on tests. So that is your 3 biggest mistakes that I see people making. And when you avoid these mistakes, we're looking at like 99% success rate in bringing down this toxin trap so that you can go and get healthy and you can actually start pooping daily and move on. Just like being sick isn't something you have to think about anymore. Wouldn't that be nice? So if you want to get a full audit of your 5 toxin trap, I built a tool where you can go do that right now in 5 minutes or less. Go to betterbellytherapies.com/trap and it will take you to our 5 toxin trap audit program. You just answer questions and it will spit out these beautiful colored bars that show you how much you've completed that trap and then how much you are maybe stuck in the trap, and which ones to be thinking about the most and what your next step should be from there. So, or if you just want to jump right into like, I'm ready to fix this sucker. I want to be pooping daily and move on with my life and just know what to do. Go to betterbellytherapies.com/blueprint and you can grab my program. There's no wait list. You can join now. It's our DIY program to learn exactly what you need to do and have all the tools you need to heal yourself. It's the exact protocols you need to do, the exact testing, how to analyze them, and just do it, right? Know what to do it. Most of y'all are already doing lots of stuff. It's just knowing the right thing to do, and it suddenly makes everything easier. So I hope this helps you guys to heal and to find freedom and to find hope that you can get better. And if you really want any more reason to hope, I've been sharing this on the last few episodes, but I want to remind people, if you didn't know, we have all of our podcast testimonials, all of the screenshotted testimonials we've ever gotten from clients in one area. It's in our results document. Go to betterbellytherapies.com/results. And you can, there's no email, it's just a free open document. We add to it all the time when we get new results, and you can see the types of symptoms and results and even timelines, how quickly people have gotten healing, because it varies a little, but I'd say for constipation specifically, we're looking at 1 month or less. Some people it's 1 week that they're seeing results after following our process. So go to betterbellytherapies.com/results if you just want to see examples of real people like you who've been sick for a long time or sick with random, like doctors don't believe that they're not feeling well or just vague issues, and they've gotten answers and gotten results. So go to betterbellytherapies.com/results, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Hey friend, I hope you loved this episode. If you've been a fan for a while or newly loving this podcast, can you do me a favor? Drop into Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. When you leave a review, you do so much. You help me know you're listening. You can tell me what you're loving so I know what to make more of. And you help others by boosting this podcast so other people like you can find the podcast too. I mean, it's a win-win-win, right? So if you want a way to pay it forward, just go to Apple Podcasts or click the link in my show notes and leave a rating and review. And if you want some more free stuff, just head over to my free Facebook group, betterbellytherapies.com/Facebook, and you can get access to all of my free support for you, including some Facebook group exclusive stuff like my podcast episode vault, where you can search the Better Belly podcast by topic and find exactly what you need to expedite your healing. I cannot wait to see you in there. Catch you guys next week.